All right, grand rising, grand arrival, grand return. Peace and blessings to the righteous and the repentant alike. I am Chief Sophia of the AmaruKhan Band of Indians, and this is another entry into our introduction to daylight astrology. This is a series where we cover basically a new understanding, a new interpretation of astrology that is really back to the old interpretation. And we do this through things that make sense, things that we can find and replicate in nature under the light. Of course, the light of the sun or the light of the moon, but the light nonetheless. So, what you see here is the daylight tree of manifestation. Now, I previously described this particular tree as the cosmic tree of life. And I think that's accurate as well. However, most people have been told that manifestation is everything. And if you can't manifest your, whatever it is you're trying to do, that there's something wrong with you. And so I wanted to address that in a way that makes sense, that allows people to actually see results from their manifestations. What's happening right now is a lot of people's manifestations are being intercepted because they're not doing the right thing at the right time, based on their personal astrology, what's in their chart. They're just kind of going along with the energy. And this could be going along with the random spiritualists out here. This could be going along with the political class, the commercial class, whatever the case may be. Understand that these individuals understand how this process works. If they would admit publicly that they're using this information or not is remains to be seen. But this is a process that does work no matter who uses it. And so even if the people don't know publicly or consciously that this is how they're manifesting, this is the process of how manifestation works. And so this combines two elements, which I call the roots of the tree and the fruits of the tree. Now, roots of the tree readings, when I read the roots of the tree, that is a reading that goes from north node. You start in the north node energy and you get to the south node energy, which is usually the most difficult energy. That's roots. Fruits of the tree starts with the south node, which is the most difficult energy, and you end up in your north node, which is mostly the easiest energy. These are different ways the energy flows. It's either going from easiest to hardest or from hardest to easiest. That's pretty much it. Then if you put them both together like we have here, it goes from easiest to hardest to easiest. So this would be like a full moon in a particular sign, an opposition, and then a conjunction, and then an opposition. This is why it's important to understand and watch all the videos in this series, because each step along the way builds on another step. If you don't understand my theory on astrology and the timing being from opposition to opposition, i.e. full moon to full moon, then this is not really going to make sense in the way that you understand things. So you're going to want to make sure you have a good understanding of how I believe the cycle of life flows. And it goes from opposition to opposition, not from conjunction to conjunction. So again, that's full moon to full moon, not new moon to new moon. Now, a whole cycle, like I said, is a full moon and then a new moon and then a full moon. That is a whole cycle. Now, it doesn't mean we ignore the new moon to new moon cycles, but you handle those differently than you handle the full moon to full moon cycles. So currently on my channel, I have a video about the Cancer new moon and the Sagittarius full moon, and you can see what I mean in those videos. It's really distinctly different how you handle those cycles. So most astrologers, when they're talking about squares or whatever, you can just almost understand that it's the opposite. So for example, if the astrologer is saying it's an opening square, 9 times out of 10 it's the closing square. If they're saying it's the opening trine, it's really the closing trine. Like, they are really opposite in their way of understanding how the energy is actually flowing, because they're not starting their cycle with the oppositions, they're starting their cycle with the conjunctions. And really, that's halfway through the process. Again, just as a recap, you don't walk up to somebody and immediately end up in a bed in a sexual act. That's not typically how it works, unless you are a commercially corrupt one, the whore. That's how that works. But in most situations, you have a point, the person you're talking to has a point. You in general, after some discussion, you come to a conjunction, a resolution, agree to disagree, or whatever it is, and then you go back to your opposite ends in your opposite in conjunctions. That's typically how a healthy relationship is supposed to flow. So we're going to start from the realm of destruction to the realm of reflection to the realm of creation. Now, this is also different. In each circle, as you can see in the key, you have the planet, the realm, and the ruler. The realm of destruction is the realm of the negatively polarized entities, the demons. Some of the people call them, they're negatively polarized. The point is, it's their job to destroy. Now, you have to go through destruction in the process of creation, but you don't have to build your house, like I always say, in the valley. You can go through the valley and experience the valley, understand the valley, accept that it's your turn to be in the valley, but you do not have to build your house there. You don't have to live in the realm of destruction. The reason why this process works is because most people are comfortable in the realm of destruction. Really, you should be in the realm of reflection. Ideally, you'd stay in the middle. So it's a little bit harder to get to an ultimate high, and it's a little bit harder to get to an ultimate low. So typically you would stay in the realm of reflection, where you're just constantly saying, oh, this is reflecting back to me. Oh, that's reflecting back to me. People say it, but they don't have a comprehensive way of expressing it. That's what this is. So if you're in constant reflection, then if you see something happen out in the world, you understand that it's happening somewhere within yourself. So if I look out and I see that there's protesting going on, that means somewhere within me there's protesting going on. And there is places within me where there's and it's legitimate protesting. I legitimately protest having to learn lessons through pain and suffering. I legitimately protest that. I legitimately protest being evil to people. I legitimately protest that. Okay? That's what I'm seeing out in the world. Now, are the worldly protests correct and my protest incorrect, or my protest correct and their protest correct? That's not really a point. The point is to say, oh, they're protesting out there. Here's my reflection on it. I think that if they want to protest, they can do what they do. It has nothing to do with me. I don't have to get involved. That's a reflection. It's not me putting my energy into it, right? I didn't go into North Node and, oh, if I was them, I would never protest. I didn't go into South Node and say, I need to be out there in the streets. I'm so sad I can't get out. No. I just said, they're protesting out there. Good for them. Let them do what they're going to do. It has nothing to do with me, and it has no influence on how I'm going to conduct myself, because it has nothing to do with me. That is how a successful reflection is done. If you look out there and you see somebody experiencing suffering, you can say, wow, that is really unfortunate. They're experiencing that suffering like that. I do not wish to experience suffering, so I want to make sure that I'm reflecting on what's going on so that I do not experience this type of suffering that these people are experiencing, okay? Because I don't need to learn my lesson that way. Period. No judgment on the person, no judgment on yourself. It's just a statement. I don't need to learn the lesson that way. And some people do, but not me. Okay? So we're going to start with the realm of destruction. And one thing I love about this is that I can zoom in. All right. So as you can see, well, before I even do that, let me zoom back out. Especially since I'm about to start on this. Now, I have paths here. If you're familiar with the tree of life, there's paths, and they tell you ways you can take and all of that. There's an easy way and a hard way. The hard way requires you to do like what Pistis Sophia did. The one I just stick with Pistis Sophia. Pistis Sophia, when she learned her lessons, she had to journey down to the bottom, all the way down to the bottom, each step encountering these various entities, losing a part of herself along the way. Erishkigal, I'm sorry, that's the other one, in the Sumerian pantheon. You could learn the lesson like that, okay? That is indeed an option to you. However, that option has been augmented with the introduction of Jesus. Because what did Jesus do? Jesus waited till a specific time, right? He gave up the ghost, meaning we serve a living Savior, not a one Savior who died on the cross. Jesus did not die on the cross. He died and his body was on the cross, but he did not die on the cross. He died and gave up the ghost. So when they pierced the side of his body, he was already gone. He already left his body. Okay? This is a huge and very important piece. So the little colored pathways is the way that you can wait until a certain particular door opens, right? This is where we use astrology to determine what doors open and simply transport, teleport, travel from wherever it is that you are on this thing into the lower realm or into the upper realm through the realm of reflection. So what would this look like in a practical sense? If now this is a part of my whole cosmology. So I'm going to use the saints as an example as opposed to the spirit intelligences, because the saints are easier, I think, to explain. Right now we have a Sagittarius full moon that is basically occurring on this day. Today is June the 10th, 2025. Okay. The saint for the Sagittarius full moon is St Spyridon. I keep saying this. I wrote his name wrong, but his name is St Spyridon. Okay. He was a bishop. All right. If you wanted to use this energy practically, Sagittarius is Jupiter. Okay, so Jupiter on here is Asmodeus, that would be the demonic entity, and Zadkiel would be the higher level entity. Okay, and the mitigator of that energy would be Saint Spyridon. Okay, so in the realm of reflection. So if I wanted to learn the lesson of Saint Spyridon, which is do not call unclean what the Creator has called clean, because he's got a whole story. Listen to my Sagittarius light moon for a video for that. Okay. If I had to learn the lesson of not calling unclean what the Creator called clean, I could, in my example that I'm going to give you, because I've already talked about it publicly, I could say, hey, especially based on the other energies, hey, I know that Carnival, it presents as a hyper sexual event. But if you put it in the context of that is the one time of the year that you get the ability to have the sun not in its full strength on your body for the whole day, potentially wiping out any issues that come along with not having your body exposed to the sun, and you do this while walking 12 hours in some big bright feathers, displaying yourself as a member of the feathered ones, the angelic realm, and partaking in the quote unquote fruit of the vine and drinking, and of course dancing. You have the live music, or just music in general that's vibrating your body. I could take that and say, hey, even though people look at that and say that that is an event that is, like I said, hypersexualized, overindulgent, whatever, it's not bad because it gives people the ability to express their that nature that is natural to people in an environment that doesn't end in some type of abuse. So even though it might seem bad, it seems like that could be used to help people. What have I done in that thought process? In that thought process, I have taken something that's on the lower level, which would be this Asmodeus kind of demonic entity, and I have reflected back onto Asmodeus the negative parts. At the same time, I'm reflecting up to Zadkiel the positive parts that that energy could actually have on people, and Saint Spidrion as this energy that says what God has called clean, you don't call unclean, mitigating it through there. Now, this takes practice. I mean, this is something that I always did, even before I had words for this. This is how I thought, because I am scorpionic in nature, and Scorpios are all death and rebirth, and death and rebirth. And so in the process of death and rebirth, you start to realize, hey, some of the things that I did that I once thought were bad, I can actually see how they were helpful, because then it helped me to do X, Y, and Z, P, Q, R, and S. I understand that people don't do this naturally. I can see that. So this chart will help to explain how you do that within these different realms. Now, of course, you start with the full moons and the new moons like we do on the channel, because it gives you a focused opportunity to build this skill. This is a skill that takes a long time to learn. You cannot be expected to be a master manifester immediately, because it also requires you to focus your energy on the right thing in the right realm at the right time. Jesus was a master, so he was able to say, look, I'm gonna get on this cross, and it's gonna look like it's gonna look like I died on the cross. And so people who tell the story will say, oh, this is Jesus, King of the Jews, who died on the cross. But those who take the time to deeply understand what I'm teaching them will see, hey, I didn't die on the cross. I was on the cross and I was dead, but I did not die on the cross, because they add that one little line that says Jesus gave up the ghost. How do I know that this is true? There's hundreds of thousands of stories of the martyrs, and all the stories of the martyrs say what? Before they died, before their bodies were mutilated beyond repair, they gave up their spirit. They yielded their spirit. Now, if you yield your spirit and they mutilate your body, did the mutilation kill you? No. No, this is the secret of the martyrs. This is the mystery that no one can understand. I don't understand it. I'm not saying I do. I'm saying this is the mystery that no one can understand. That you can indeed yield your spirit prior to your body dying. And a great number of people have done that. Before their body died, they yielded their spirit and said, enough. And you have that opportunity and option. You don't have to, people who want to exit off the planet, you do not have to commit some kind of horrendous thing to exit off the planet. Just yield your spirit to the Creator. And say to the Father, I yield my spirit. I'm coming home. I'm done. And then that's it. But you know what? You don't know what happens next. So most people will not do that. However, what Jesus did was, from his position in the realm of reflection, he went all the way down to the bottom. Well, I don't even think it was the bottom. I actually don't think he went all the way to the bottom. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. But he went down into the realm of destruction and did what? Freed the captives. And in his process of freeing the captives, what happened? Some of them came back into the realm of reflection to reflect the life around them. Some of them were, immediately joined to the Creator, like Adam, like Eve. That was the reason why he went down there, because they were holding Adam and Eve in the realm of destruction, and humanity was being destroyed. Jesus went down there to free them into the realm of creation. That's what happened. And we have the opportunity to do that. That's what manifesting is. Freeing from the realm of destruction into the realm of creation through the realm of reflection. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. Let's go down here. Now, we're going to go step by step, but understand when these are like keys, and this whole shape looks like an hourglass. So this is a cosmic timer. You can turn this thing to such the right way that you can get exactly what you want. But again, it takes work. Understand the small parts before you try to do the big parts, because you can cause immense harm to yourself if you try to do this from a sense of it's me. It's not me. It's not me. Okay. I say it all the time. I don't know. All I'm doing is repeating the stuff that's, I'm not even repeating it. It's coming out of my mouth and it sounds pretty good to me. That's about as much input I have in it. I have to understand it. So these are things that I think about. But once I start speaking, it's not me. I have a general understanding. But when I go back and listen to these videos, it's amazing the things that I say. And it just spews out of my mouth. Okay, so we're going to start with the North Node at the very bottom. And also, if you have not seen one of my Roots of the Tree readings, this is what you physically experience. So you go from this North Node at the bottom to the South Node at the top for the first 36 years of your life. You go through it once from your birth chart, 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times from your, twice from your birth chart. I'm sorry, once, twice from your birth chart. Then you start doing your, when you turn 18, you go through the thing that came up at that time. You go through that twice. And then when you turn 36, this energy shifts every single year. But that would be on the fruit side. But the roots, you go through twice. You go through 0 to 9 and then 10 through 18. You go through your whole thing twice. And you'll notice, if you think back, things that happened to you at 9 or 10 are the same things that were going on when you were born. This is also because there's an 18-year nodal cycle that there's several 18-year cycles, but the 18-year nodal cycle is what really, it takes 18 years for the nodes to get back to where they were when you were born. And that's one of the keys that have to be unlocked. However, there's all kinds of ways to do this energy, but we're not going to go into that. All right, so we have the North Node in Uranus here at the bottom in the realm of destruction, and that's Thaumiel, and that's ruled by Moloch. Okay, and then next up we have the Moon, that's Thagrion, and it's ruled by Belphegor. Then we have Venus, which is Gagiel, and that's ruled by Belial. And we have Mercury, which is Satriel, and that's ruled by Lucifer. Then we have Neptune, which is Da'ath, and that's the realm of the fallen ones. So those are your ancestors who are in a bad place and can't get out. Those are the individuals who choose service to self over service to humanity, and they can't come out. These are any sort of ghosts, entities that are trapped where they are and they're unable to come into the light. That is Da'ath and Neptune. It's only on the bottom half of the tree. Then you have the Sun, which is Ga'ashebala, It's hard to pronounce. And that's ruled by Astaroth. Then you have Jupiter, which is Golachab, and that's ruled by Asmodeus. Then you have Mars, which is Gamaliel, which is ruled by Lilith. Then you have Earth, which is Adversary, which is ruled by Baal. That's why all those prophets of Baal, they were prophets of the earth. So this is not the earth in its this is the destroyed earth realm, not the creative earth realm. Okay, then you have Saturn, which is Samael, and that's ruled by Adramelech. And then you have the south node in Pluto, which is Malkuth, and that's ruled by Nemoth. Now here in the realm of reflection, you have Mirror World, which is ruled by the Olympic spirits. I do have a video on my channel about the Olympic spirits, but you can look them up. So you have Mirror World Moon, ruled by Fool. Mirror World Saturn, ruled by Eritron. Mirror World Mars, ruled by Phaleg. Mirror World Jupiter, ruled by Bethor. Mirror World Sun, ruled by Ak. Mirror World Mercury, ruled by Ophiel. And Mirror World Venus, ruled by Haggith. I'm going to come back and talk about this small cycle. So here we have the realm of creation. So you have the south node in Pluto. So again, this would be the fruits of the tree, the green part of the leaves of the tree that you actually see. The roots of the tree is the part that you don't see. That's entirely in darkness. You have no idea what you're doing when you're rolling around in the roots of the tree. When you're in the fruits of the tree, you see the fruit of what you've done. You see if it's good. Okay. Taste and see, that he is good. All right. You have the south node in Pluto, which is Malkuth, and that's Raziel. So there's two nodes. These are there's two nodes to the moon. So there's a node to the moon on the upper level and a node to the moon on the lower level, and they're both Malkuth. Okay. You have Saturn, which is called Had, and that's ruled by Zadkiel. You have the Earth, which is called Netzach, and that's ruled by Sandalphon. You have Mars, which is ruled by which is called Yesod, and that's ruled by Kamael. You have Jupiter, which is called Gavura, and that's ruled by Zadkiel. You have the Sun, which is called Chesed, and that's ruled by Raphael. You have Neptune, which is called Yesh Amnity, and that's ruled by the Holy Spirit. You have Mercury, which is called Bina, and that's ruled by Michael. You have Venus, which is called Chokma, and that's ruled by Haniel. You have the Moon, which is called Tiferet, and that's ruled by Gabriel. And then you have the North Node, or Uranus, which is called Keter, and that's ruled by Metatron. So if you're familiar with the Kabbalist tree of life, this is similar, different orders, different ways of connecting. Okay, very, very different, because in the middle pillar, they tell you, oh, the best thing to do is to take the middle pillar. That's not necessarily true. Let me talk about that. The only option you have where you could just take the middle pillar is if you deal with the south node. Now, the south node is the most difficult placement in the astroterography, which is where we use this. It's the most difficult position because it's in reverse. So you would have to learn intimately how to take every small energy, which is all the ones on the inside of the wheel, and not how to transmute them, but how to extract only the response that you want out of them. So let's use one that has to do with this Sagittarius new moon, which is the 10 of Cups. That is my natal card. I'm very familiar with 10 of Cups energy. It is extremely difficult. Every time it comes around, it's a huge problem, because cups are illusion. So when you have the 10 of Cups upright, it just looks like you have this happy family, but it's not necessarily ground in reality. I call it a delusion card. Like Virgos in the last 10 degrees of Virgo are highly delusional, because this 10 of Cups is a delusional energy. And it can either be a good delusional energy, like everything is going great, my life is so awesome, it's perfect, or it's a inverted delusional, which is everything sucks, this life is terrible, I should just give up. Like, it's extreme. Okay, cups, all the Cups energy is like that. Cups are delusional. We haven't talked about that very much on my channel in a long time, but I'm telling you, cups are delusional. So if you were to travel the middle path, and let's just say we're dealing with the South Node energy, which is the Ten of Cups. On the upper half of the tree, it's the Ten of Cups in reverse, and on the bottom half of the tree, it's the Ten of Cups in reverse. South Node is always read in reverse, and I try to straight up just do transmutation on that, but after reflecting on the energy, I don't think that that's how it works. I think you literally have to figure out how to see the cup as full even when it looks empty. So what does that mean? And you would do that through, because it's the south node of the moon, you would do that through the moon energy on Mirror World. This makes the moon energy on Mirror World the most powerful energy. This is why. Because the south node is the south node of the moon. The north node is the north node of the moon. From the bottom of the tree to the top of the tree, they all have to come through the moon. This makes Fool the most powerful Olympic spirit. Okay? It's just the way that it is. So, so let me explain how I would interpret this to get from the south node down to learn the lesson on the south node on the realm of destruction, and then bring that energy back up. Because if you can see here, you go from, let me see if I can annotate. Oh, I can. Ooh. I want to highlight though. Okay. So as you can see here, in order to get from this right here, you have to travel like this. But then once you get to the south node, you have to walk it back up. Now, I can't give you the exact reason why it's like that, but it has to deal with pulling in the energy from an unreal state to a real state. Plus, if you look, let me do this again. If I start here, and I go here, and I go here, that's an infinity symbol. That's an infinity symbol. And that's what's on Aquarius, and that's what's on Leo, the infinity symbol. And so that's how it works. When you do it from, I can do it from down here too. Let me pick another color so y'all can see. If I'm going to do it here from Mars, I do it here too. But when you walk it back up from Mars, you have to walk it up this way. Right? That's a little bit harder. That looks like an S. So that's the reason why you don't necessarily want to do, they don't like doing it the hard way. Now you can do it the hard, it's not the hard way. It's a more specific lesson. Okay. It's a more intricate lesson. But typically what we work on is new moon to new moon and full moon to full moon, right? Okay. So that means we're using the infinity symbol. That's all that's necessary. Let me take this out. Now, what they also try to do, let me use a different color, is, okay, they take you through your south node, right? No, what they like to do is take you through Saturn. They take you through Saturn. They take you through Mirror World down to the Saturn here, right? And then they keep you spinning. And so you decide, oh, this is where I live now. Let me build my house. And you set up a toll booth. And guess what happens? When the next person comes along, let's use a different color, who's supposed to learn this Saturn lesson, they start here, they go here, they get here. Now they're stuck because you have set up a toll booth. Okay? This is why you don't set up a toll booth on knowledge. Does it mean that you don't charge? No. It means you don't set up a toll booth. Okay? I love this, that I can draw. Alright, so how would I do this? Back to my 10 of Cups example. Here we go. No. I was using. No, I use this one. Okay, back to my Ten of Cups example. Oh, I was using green. That's right. So if I'm at the Ten of Cups here in the South Node, right? The Ten of Cups in reverse is. Hold on 1 second. I should have opened this up. The Ten of Cups in reverse is feeling neglected, poor timing, shattered dreams. Upright, the Ten of Cups is love, harmony, and satisfaction. So how would I learn the lesson of feeling neglected, poor timing, and shattered dreams and have love, harmony, and satisfaction? What I would do is I would make a choice with my family that I didn't necessarily want to make, right? Because it's a Ten of Cups. I would make a choice that I didn't necessarily want to make, but I would feel the satisfaction of having made the choice. So for me, what I did was my kids wanted to go up the road for the summer. I did not want to send them up the road for the summer. I felt really a certain kind of way about that. But this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to go up the road. So in my mind, I said, okay, I'm going to take them up the road, but more than likely, I'll leave them there for the month of June, and then in July, I will bring them back here so we can do some stuff together for the summer. So that takes care of my South Node energy here. Now, we have to go into Mirror World. Mirror World is the real world and what happens, right? It's like, okay, how is this going to play out? You don't too sure know. So we get into the Mirror World and what happens? I take them up the road. And that does not go smoothly because we have to go down here into the South Node. So what happens in the South Node energy? I get up the road. Before I even left to go up the road, I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't feel good. I got sick, all of this stuff. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe we just won't go. Well, the kids are like, when are we leaving? Everybody's like, when are we leaving? So, I told my mom, okay, I'll take you guys up the road, but you're going to have to pay for it. I'm not going to have the money for that. I have to pay bills, whatever. What happens? We get up the road. She doesn't have the money for me to get home at all. Zero. No money is there. And I'm like, okay, this is why I didn't want to do this. It's like, oh, this is the South Node energy. This is the feeling neglected, poor timing, shattered dreams. My dreams were shattered that I was going to be able to get down there and get up the road without having any issues. My dreams were shattered. However, I had a credit card. And so I was able to feel the feeling. I did not feel the feeling of neglection, poor timing, and shattered dreams. I did not feel the feeling, but I still had the satisfaction, boom, of being able to come back up the road. And for me, it was a literal road. I drove back home. It was no problem. Now, everybody is not going to be that cut and dry like that. But that literally happened to me. Like, this kind of stuff happens to me all the time. That it's a literal cut and dry. What could I have done? What could have been my response? Well, I could have got down there and be like, I guess I'm not going nowhere until somebody gives me the money. I could have threw a fit. I could have had I could have caused a big riff and just, packed the girls up and brought them back up the road. I didn't do any of that. I was like, I am going to handle this in such a way that it doesn't matter. Is it really that serious? Like, I had to ask myself, is it really that serious? I didn't want to bring anybody into my drama, into this problem, because I could see clearly that it was a problem. Now, this before I did any of this reading stuff. I'm just out here living my life. Like, again, if you're a good person and you do good things, you'll be taken care of. So because I'm out here being a good person, sharing my knowledge and not being selfish or whatever the case may be, as with a lot of these spiritualists are, good things happen to me. So what? I got back up the road. I had the money. It was just not a problem. I didn't have the money. I had a credit card, and the credit card stood in the gap for what I needed to get back up the road. All praises to the Most High. You can't make that up. I I didn't have a plan. Because I was like, no, I already told her I needed the money because I wasn't doing this and blah, 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 blah. And literally, I was able to get back up the road. Now, what happens today? Just to round this out, because I brought it out of myself. I brought it out of myself to just take the path that was going to potentially create more problems, which is always a risk when you use a credit card, right? It might create more problems. But because I did that, I didn't go off the deep end. I didn't cause a rift. I didn't have a episode or anything like that. I didn't beg a bunch of people. I didn't get on here crying. I didn't do any of that. I just said, you know what? Do I have money on a credit card to get home? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to involve anybody in this. My daughter sends me a message today. She's like, oh, one of my friends' birthday party is in July, the beginning of July. Can I come back for that? Perfect. Now I got an excuse to go back down there or up there, pick them up, bring them back, and that's it. Now it's over. The whole thing I originally said in my mind was what? If they want to go up there, that's fine. A month is long enough, and after a month, I'm going to bring them back. It's already set up. Now I got to, work on the details and all of that, but that's one less thing, because if she's going to come, the little one's going to come, I don't have any problems. There's no discussions, no issues, no nothing. Boom. That's, and this, again, I'm a good person. I don't, have a toll booth set up. So I didn't get down here. Listen to me now. I didn't have this idea, take it through Mirror World, get down here and decide, you know what? I'm going to start charging people, all of this because I'm tired of giving away my knowledge for free. I need money. I need people to, put some dollars in my pockets and all of that so that I can get back, so that I can do this work. I didn't do that. I didn't build a toll booth, because if I had, the next person who comes along with this problem, they have an idea, something they're trying to do. They get here. Instead of me just giving you the solution, like right here, I'm giving you a free solution. I would be trying to get them to pay my toll. Okay? This is why your manifestations is blocked. Because you're trying to get somebody to pay a toll with information you should be given for free. You're going to block your manifestations every time like that. You have to just give the information away. Then you can, work your way right back up. And it's easy. So it's really important to keep this in mind. And then you would also be stuck down here. If I would have set up a toll, I would also have been stuck there. I would have been stuck there where I didn't want to be, trying to wait for the money to be able to get back. Do you understand? Like what I'm saying? Like if I stop to set up a toll booth, that means I can't go back to where I wanted to be. Now, again, depending on what energy you deal with, it depends on these cycles. And that's why it's important to know the cycles of opposition to opposition, because this is where it starts. And then from here, it churns on down, and then you have to walk it back up through the conjunction, right? Through the realm of reflection. Let me just mention this. I use the moon because it's the easiest to understand. But understand, this realm of reflection is flat. They're all on top of each other. This is the linchpin. They're all on top of each other. So it's not like, oh, if you're coming to go through Saturn, you gotta go over here through Saturn. No. They're on top of each other. They're layered. This is a layer. So if you have to deal with Jupiter, you're still going to come through this linchpin in the middle. This makes this a three-dimensional shape, right? And not a flat shape. This is layered. So you come from wherever you're coming from. If you're coming from Earth, you still come through here to get down here. Now, when you walk back this way. And that's just to cement it in. If you don't, let's say you think you can take the shortcut back, right? You learn this earth lesson. What would be an earth lesson? Earth is always a major arcana. I think the one in this, okay, this is a good example. For the Sagittarius full moon, we have the hangman. That's also in my chart. Very difficult energy. The hangman is self-sacrifice, and it's a forced new start. Okay, so let's say, for example, in this same story that I've already told, I know I've got this self-sacrifice energy. So let's say, for example, before I left, I knew the money wasn't there, and I made a comment, hey, where's the money? Let's say I didn't make the comment. Let's say before I left, I knew the money wasn't there, and I just didn't say anything. Now, this is the hangman in the upright position. Now, this is not like the south node. The south node is in the reverse position. And so I don't say anything. I make this journey down here, and we get to Baal. And so I know I didn't say anything before I left about not having the money. I get down there, I don't have the money. And then what? Same thing. I set up a toll booth, and I say, you know what, Mom? I'm not leaving here until I have the money to get home, because you promised you would give me the money, okay? I set up a toll booth. Guess what? I'm stuck. I'm stuck in the realm of destruction. When I came from the realm of creation, I'm stuck in the realm of destruction, and I can't get back. I can't get back. I'm stuck. Right? But if I don't do that, let's say I take this hangman and I put him in reverse. Well, the hangman in reverse, let me see. Oh, the hangman in reverse is what? You have a new perspective. You develop a new perspective, right? So my perspective was, look, I know I shouldn't be taking this trip until I have this money. So I made the comment. I said, listen, I don't want to take this trip if I don't have the money. Okay? We get down the road, there's no money. Okay, so now I got to take the hard way back. Okay? And the hard way is, okay, first I accept. I didn't have the money to make this trip. And I told these people I didn't have the money to make this trip, and nobody cared. Okay? So now I got to go and deal with Saturn. Saturn is the Two of Wands. Two of Wands is perspective. It's the Jezebel card. So in reverse, it will be Jezebel. It's an outside influence. So the outside influence is, I knew I didn't have the money to make this trip, but I made it anyway. It was the right thing to do, because my kids wanted to go, my mom wanted to go, someone had to take them. It was the right thing to do. So ding ding ding, I've dealt with Saturn. Now into the south node, which is the Ten of Cups in reverse, which is feeling neglected, poor timing, shattered dreams. Ding ding ding, I dealt with that. Now we're going up into mirror world, straight through onto the south node, but this time dealing with it from the saying, okay, you know what? I made it down there. I made it back safely. That's just fine. Ding, ding, ding. Next to upright Saturn, which will be outside influence, but which is plans, travel, and new idea. And what is my new idea? And I just won't do this anymore. Like I'm not going to make these trips like this. It's either, if I don't have the money myself to go, then I'm just not going to go at all. Ding, 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 ding. That means I have to have the money to go. Now we're back into the part of fortune position, the earth position, which is the hangman, self-sacrifice, initiation, transition. I made it back. And I made it back with all of these steps. Boom, 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 with all of these lessons. And I made it back to the top. But if I tried to go backwards, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm having way too much fun with this ability. Now, let's say I try to go back the easy way. So I get down here and I have this um um self-sacrifice, whatever. I sacrifice everything, and now what? I'm going to just take my ball and leave the court and go back. I miss out on all of these lessons along the way and all of these reinforcements along the way. Can you do it? Yes, but it's cheating. Of course, if I got down there, let's say, for example, and was like, I knew this was going to happen. You know, this is all my fault. I should have ... There was something I could do to prevent this by just not bringing them or waiting for this, waiting for that, whatever, right? Let's say I had taken that perspective. That robs me of the ability to learn this lesson, this lesson, this lesson, and this lesson. And this is what magicians do. They learn this lesson and this lesson only. They never learn the other lessons that come along with it. Which means, how do you build relationships with these entities? There's entities at each one of these steps. If you take the hard way and boom, 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 straight through and learn all these lessons, guess what? These entities have respect for you because you're following the proper order. But if you just say, look, I need to go back and learn this lesson, I'm just not going to do this again, and I'm going to put all this stuff on me, and it's just going to be me, and forget everybody else, and I'm not going to worry about nobody else and all of that. I mean, you could do that, absolutely, but you rob yourself. Now imagine, let's zoom out some. Let's say you're learning a harder lesson, like a moon lesson, right? Let me use a different color. Let's say we're using the moon lesson, right? We're going to start up here, right? And the moon energy is, oh, perfect. It's a 10 of swords. Sudden ending, failure, and backstabbing. So that's the lesson for this lunation. So let's say the sudden ending is I get up the road and all of a sudden I don't have any money and I've been backstabbed, which is true, and it's failure, right? It's a failure. I failed to make it down the road easily. It was already hard before I left, right? So I get down to the reverse of that, the 10 of swords, which is the 10 of swords in reverse, which is again almost like you stabbing yourself, right? It's sabotage. It's self-sabotage. So I get down to this 10 of swords in reverse, this self-sabotage, right? In the moon at the bottom. That's what this energy is here to convince me, right? As I move back up this path by taking the Venus, the Mercury, all these lessons that I'm supposed to learn, as I learn, this was a big thing. These are all entities who now know how I operate. They know, okay, this one right here, let's just let her get the realization real quick so that she can move on, because we can't get her. But imagine if I had decided, again, I got down there, I took this failure as a complete failure, and I put up a toll booth. Okay, I put up a toll booth, I put my house there, and I'm like, hey, I gotta have money. Something's wrong with me because I can never have money to do anything, and money, and money will solve the problem, and let me see what I can do to get some money so that I can solve this problem the way I want it to be solved. Guess what? Not only do I not learn any of these lessons, let me do this one. I don't learn any of these lessons. These are done. I don't learn any of these lessons. None of these entities know me. None of them respect me. None of them understand what I'm trying to do in my life. And I have been robbed of my ability in this one experience to learn all of these lessons. Because they're on both sides. Most people get to this part where they've fallen all the way down. They solve this reverse energy, which in the 10 of swords is, again, a sudden ending, a failure, a backstabbing, and then they build a toll booth. They build their house there. They live in that energy. They never go back up and see the quote unquote silver lining, because we're talking about the moon. What is the silver lining of in my story? Um my silver lining is the story didn't end when I got there and didn't have the money to get back. I still made it back home. Even though I didn't have the money to get back home, I still made it back home. So I learned all of these lessons. I didn't put up a toll booth, right? I learned all of these lessons that we could delineate all of them. It's just, I don't think it's necessary. I'm pretty sure people get the point right now. But I learned all of these lessons. I interfaced with all of these entities. They could clearly see that they can't fool me. No fooling me. No getting me to be upset about stuff that doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep it easy and make it work. And that's how manifestation works. So the faster you can do that, especially when it's within the realm of the South Node, the faster you can manifest. One thing I do want to say about this, let me use this color. This right here is roots, right? You can't see roots when they're going in the ground. So when you fall off this cliff, let's use the sun in this case. When you fall off this cliff, you have no idea why you're down here. You assume that you're down there because you did something wrong. But really what you're doing is you're building your roots. This is your root system, right? And you're sending what's down there in your roots and bringing it all the way out to the leaf. So a lot of people think the fruit grows like when a flower or a piece of fruit comes off a tree, it doesn't, people understand that's connected to the roots, but people don't understand how far down in the ground that nutrient for that apple or whatever came from. They don't understand the work that came into bringing that apple to that leaf so that it could fruit. Because you don't see any of this. From this point down, you don't see any of that. All you see right here is the fruit that comes out. You don't see all the other stuff. All this other stuff, you don't see it. Even the stuff that's inside, in the realm of creation, you still don't see it. You don't see the tree sucking the water, breathing in the water from the roots all the way up to the top. You don't get to see that part. All you get to see is the apple that comes here. You don't see the rest of this stuff. And so it's because you don't see it, you don't understand that it's happening. But I'm telling you, this is how it's happening. So before that fruit can come off that tree, it's got to go all the way down to the bottom of where it can, and then it has to work its way up. So this is putting us into natural order with how things work on this universe, on this planet. And it's not insignificant. It's just people don't understand what goes into it. And when you try to explain it to people, they don't have this kind of code. I mean, they do have drawings that are like this, but I'm taking it from the spiritual all the way into the physical. So if your roots are bad, you're never going to produce good fruit. So if you take the easy way from here and go down, right, and then just bring that right back up and say, look, I have the fruit. You don't have no roots. This right here is going to collapse. You've built no roots. And so there's a song, I've got no roots for my home was never on the ground. That's bad. Even if your home was never on the ground, you have to have roots into the ground. If this is what, in my opinion, these demigods and all these other entities that exist outside of this realm are afraid of. They never had, some of them had roots on the ground, but it was a long time ago. They're not playing the reincarnation game and coming back and seeing how good they're going to do. A lot of us, we're gamers. We're playing this reincarnation game for fun at this point, to see, okay, I'm going to come back in this family. I'm going to come back in this family. Let's see what happens in this family. Let's see what happens in that family. Like, you're coming back and playing the game for fun because it's a fun game to play. I know a lot of humans believe that this is not fun. I think it's hilarious, actually. I'd like to stop playing it, but at the same time, I could see playing again. It's a fun game. And if you think you don't want to play the game anymore, yield your spirit to the Creator. He won't make you play. You're here by your own choice because you think the game is fun or somebody tricked you or whatever. So if you don't like the game, ask to stop playing. I mean, it's really that simple. I don't know why people... You also can't rig your way here. Like, if you go from here all the way down to here, you can't... It's no rigging your way down there. You have to really fall down as far as there. So people who are trying to manifest big things like me all the time from my North Node, right? If you're trying to manifest from your North Node, that means you have to go all the way down here to the bottom. And then you got to work your way back up through all the lessons. You know? And people they don't want to do that because they're afraid. It's very scary. Because you could at any one of these points be knocked out the game. You know, all of this stuff, you could get to Mirror World and be knocked out the game. You could get here. Listen, you could get all through the hard part, get here and build your toll booth. You could get there and build your toll booth instead of getting back to what you asked for. So, in this case, the North Node is the World card. What I wanted was a new beginning. I had to prove I learned all of these lessons on my way back to my new beginning. And I've done that. And I can check that because I can look at the chart, or you can look, like I said, at your personal chart, look at the cards in upright, look at the cards in reverse, figure out that you learned the lessons. If you didn't learn the lessons, that's when you, as I mentioned a long time ago, you go back and you go back, you think about what you've done, in your past, and you give it a happy ending. The happy ending is you learn the lesson, you finish the story. Some people have trauma that prevented them from finishing the story. What you would do is go back, give that story a happy ending, and finish the story so that you can come out of that circle wherever it is and move on to the next stage. That's what giving the stories a happy ending looks like. What it doesn't look like is compartmentalizing, pretending it doesn't happen, blaming everybody else or blaming yourself. It's like, no, you just give the story a happy ending and you move on. You give it a happy ending. And a happy ending sometimes is, this thing may have happened to me that's bad, but look at who I am. Look at who I become in spite of it. That's a happy ending. And you don't get stuck. You didn't put up a toll booth. You're not making... And putting up a toll booth could be an emotional toll booth. What does that look like? Sometimes you got these women out here who are bulldogs. And when a nice man comes along, instead of treating every man like he's a nice man, they treat every man like they're a scrub, for lack of a better terminology, like there's some kind of something's wrong with them, and they have something to prove to you. Whereas you could just get to know somebody, and if they're nice, they're nice. And if they're not nice, they're just not nice, and y'all don't really get along, and you can move on. But a lot of people, they put up an emotional toll booth and say, no, if you want to get to know me, you got to pay this much. What is it? You got to be this tall to ride this ride. You got to have this. You got to have money. You got to have this big giant penis or whatever. Like, this is what people do. They put up a toll booth. Those are emotional toll booths, or physical for some of that stuff. but they're toll booths nonetheless. And maybe your toll booth doesn't have money. Some people, what does I say all the time? It's ass or cash, and I don't take ass. You know what I mean? Like some people, your toll booth is some sexual encounter. That's your toll booth. Some people is, this, hyperextended talking period where you never really fully give yourself over to the person. You put up a toll booth, and that's you're never going to be able to get to the height of your creation if you got a toll booth set up. It doesn't matter what you do, you have to remove the toll booths. So if you're not being honest with yourself, if you're not giving of yourself fully and understanding what's going on, you just end up paying the charging the toll. Like, oh, to get to know me you have to do this, to get to know me you have to do that, or to be friends with me, to whatever it is, you just put up with, oh, to be in my family you have to always be perfect. No, everything is not always perfect. So there's no toll booths. There's a difference between fair compensation and a toll booth. And a lot of people don't understand the difference. And so they also try to make you think that what you're asking for, that's fair, which in my case was, hey, I said before we leave, I don't have the money for this, so this is what I'm going to need. That's fair. That's fair. But when a person falls short, do you cut them off for life? I've always been the type of person, it takes me a very, very long time not to stop talking to somebody, because it has to be obvious to me that the person is operating in bad faith. I don't believe my family is operating in bad faith. I just think that I'm a person who always does what I say. And people can rely on me for that, because guess what? I'm always going to do what I say. Always. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to do what I say. And other people are not like that. And I can't blame somebody for not being like me. There's some people who they just can't. They don't have the capacity. And it is what it is. You do what you can. You don't let people run all over you, but you don't end your whole, sever your whole connection with somebody because they don't have the will and the drive and the commitment that you have. That's reckless and foolish. So I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that. So I will of course talk about this more, but I wanted to introduce this. This is how you use this. So again, the faster you can do this, the faster you can manifest. So me, as I'm going through an experience, now I don't know all the names of the spirit intelligences and all of that stuff, but I am checking myself at every stage of what's going on to make sure I have a reasonable response. That's how I handle my life. I don't have unreasonable responses. I'm very reasonable. I'm very measured. I think I reflect. I use the reflection capacities of mirror world to reflect back on what I'm experiencing and what my goal is, because I keep my goal in mind. Let me use a different color. I love this, y'all, so much. Because I have my goal in mind. For me, my goal was, to make it back. All right. So because I have my goal in mind, when I get down here, I see my circumstance. I'm into the realm of destruction. I know that it's the realm of destruction. I know it's going to be confusion and chaos when you take it out of your mind and put it into the real world. And I just take everything step by step. And I keep focused on my goal. As long as I focus on my goal, I always get back to it. I always get back to my goal when I focus on it. And so that is what I'm telling you. No matter how chaotic it looks around you, keep your eye on the prize. If you keep your eye on like me, I'm always saying, look, it's going to be $5 million to reset my nervous system. That's, for some people, $5 million is nothing, right? For me, it's probably up here. It's a little bit difficult. All right. So that means as I'm down here. I don't have $5 million. I'm very sad. Okay. So I keep saying, nope, I need 5 million. Nope, 5 million, 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 5 million. Boom. Eventually, I'm going to get the 5 million to reset my nervous system. In the meantime, I just live. And then once I get it to reset my nervous system, I get a bigger dream. Boom. Actually, I use a different color. Now I got a bigger dream, right? But as I get down to the bottom where this bigger dream is, I know it's going to take a bigger fall. But guess what? All these guys already know me. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be easy to bring it up. That's why once you set a goal and you get it, you want to immediately set another goal. It's called momentum. Trump calls it momentum. It's true. If you lose your momentum, it's extremely difficult to get. You're starting back from here. It's extremely difficult to get it back. But if you keep your momentum, these steps, they're much easier because you literally have already done the work. So that's what momentum is. It's literally taking these small wins where you go down here, bringing it back up. Let me do that again. Taking these small wins, right? Following it down, bringing them back up. And then immediately setting a larger goal. Right? And immediately setting another larger goal. Right? And walking it back up. This is what momentum is. Immediately setting another larger goal and walking it back up. But you don't have to, it's not walking because you already dealt with all these entities. It's like a video game dealing with the bosses and stuff. Like, if you already beat one boss, you're not going to have to beat that same boss again in the same setting. Now, you're going to have to beat them in a different setting, but guess what? You already know these entities, especially in the realm of destruction, all they do is destroy. There's not a lot of ways to destroy something. There's basically one way. Creation is far more creative. So you can create something in a bunch of different ways, but destruction is pretty much a one-way street. Once it's destroyed, you have to just rebuild it. And that's like how these people are able to. This is why, I used to follow these people that, made all this money through network marketing and other kinds of one-to-one marketing, teaching their schools and stuff like that. You can't take a vacation because if you stop, people will forget you. And then all of a sudden you got to rebuild your momentum. So that's what I don't like about that. Now, we're not going to use this for everything because this is only this is not for business. Let me put it that way. This is not how you run a bartering business. That has a different realm of operation, which I don't know. I can't tell you what it is. But I know that I would not apply this to business because you can never stop. Meaning, this is also a hamster wheel, right? This could also be a hamster wheel where you have the momentum, right? You've learned this lesson. You've gone all the way down to the bottom, right? You worked your way back up to the top. This is what they do when you go to college. You worked your way up to the top, right? Now you just keep cycling. Because guess what? You set up a toll booth. But your toll booth is at the top. And you already know everybody at the bottom. So you just keep cycling and cycling and cycling and cycling. And there's no advancement. Really, every realm of creation is its own realm of destruction. What you're supposed to do is add a new realm on top. You add a new aspect. You're not supposed to just keep. That's another thing they do. The doom loop. They just keep doom looping you back here over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Do this same doom loop, right? That's a doom loop. That's not what you're supposed to do. What's supposed to happen is you learn the lesson from the bottom, and now you learn another lesson. I can't draw it. How do you draw that? You learn the lesson from the bottom. You learn another lesson, right, from the top. You learn another lesson. You learn another lesson. You're supposed to build. You're supposed to build. Not learn the same lessons over and over and over again. You're supposed to build on top. And then eventually, once you're tired, you get into this realm of creation, you get up here into your north node, and you hang out. You're not always trying to accomplish something. And that's also a thing that magicians don't. They never have a day where they're just relaxing, not trying to accomplish something. So we're not going to, that's unhealthy, okay? We don't teach that over here. But I want to mention it because it's the next natural evolution. Sometimes you retire. Sometimes you retire. And you say, you know what? I'm going to take a break. And yes, whenever I start back, it's going to be harder, but that's okay. Because life is it's a game. It's a journey. And there's entities you meet along the way. And there's no need to always be fighting one of these entities on the positive, in a destruction or the creation. Sometimes you're just being your own energy and you're over here. You're outside of this. You're outside of this. And there's a way to do that, you know. And we're going to talk about that. But I hope this makes sense. I hope this is helpful for, you know, understanding how this manifestation thing works. Shalom, peace, and blessings. And we'll see you in the next video.